Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you're having a good morning so far. This story is called Mary Had a Little Glam. And glam kind of is short for glamour. And it's by Tammy Sauer. And it was illustrated by Vanessa Brantley Newton. So there's Mary. Mary had a little glam. Mary had a little glam that grew into a lot. And everywhere that Mary went, she wasn't hard to spot. Look at all her. She's got flower pants on, her purses, her scarf. "Is that your curtain?" her mom said. But on the day she started school, she caught some by surprise. Sweet Mary shrugged and hugged her mom. "I must accessorize." Then Mary click-clacked down the block in frilly formal wear, and by the time she got to school, she'd added extra flair. When Mary took a look around, her heart was filled with woe. The other kids in class with her were glamless, head to toe. There's Mary. The others are not exactly dressed up. So Mary offered fashion tips. More pink, more beads, more shine. A hat for him and a trim for her. Go boa, it's divine. That's a boa. It's like a lot of feathers. Soon Mary brought out glitz and glam in everyone she met. The students, the teacher, the principal, and Clark, the classroom pet. Now Storytime had gowns and crowns and mounds of striped chiffon. The art class came with glitter glue and trips to her salon. Then Mary amped up music class with pomp and circumstance. At checkout time she was sublime, leaving nothing to chance. The morning flew, and soon it was the best part of the day. "It's recess time," the teacher said, and Mary led the way. But all came to a sudden stop. Each kid surveyed the scene. "We're clearly dressed all wrong for this," boo-hooed the 17. Poor Mary twirled her parasol. This crisis was a 10. She'd never figure out a plan. It was all lost. But then she tossed her shades and silk-lined cape, her scarf and strappy shoes. And Mary's friends were just as fast. There was no time to lose. The class raced for the jungle gym, the spiral slide, and the swings. Then Mary grinned and grabbed a ball, among some other things. Now Mary's flair for what to wear is better than before. The true glamour often calls for lots, but sometimes less is more. Now she's dressed properly for being at recess, right? There's all Mary's stuff. The end. The next story is another version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And this one is retold and illustrated by Jan Brett. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. One of them was a little, small, wee bear, and one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great, huge bear. They each had a bowl for their porridge, a little bowl for the little small wee bear, a middle-sized bowl for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge bowl for the great huge bear. And they each had a chair to sit in, a little chair for the little small wee bear, a middle-sized chair for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge chair for the great huge bear. And they each had a bed to sleep in, a little bed for the little small wee bear, a middle-sized bed for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge bed for the great huge bear. So there's their three bowls, and here are their chairs, and there are their beds. One day, after they had made their porridge for breakfast and poured it into their porridge bowls, they walked out into the woods while the porridge was cooling. And while they were walking, a little girl named Goldilocks came to their house. First, she looked in at the window, and then she peeped at the keyhole, and seeing no one was at home, she lifted the latch. The door opened before her, and in she went. How pleased Goldilocks was when she saw the steaming porridge on the table. The sweet smell of the porridge with roasted nuts, honey, and berries filled the room. It was so tempting that Goldilocks set about helping herself. First, she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, but it was too hot. Then she tasted the porridge of the middle-sized bear, but it was too cold. And then she tried the porridge of the little small wee bear, and it was neither too hot nor too cold. It was just right. She liked it so much, she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks sat down in the chair of the great huge bear, but it was too hard for her. Then she sat down in the chair of the middle-sized bear, but it was too soft for her. And then she sat down in the chair of the little small wee bear, and this chair was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So Goldilocks seated herself in it, and there she sat until the bottom of the chair gave way, and down she came, plump upon the floor. Then Goldilocks went upstairs to the bedroom in which the three bears slept. First she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear, but that was too high at the head for her. Next she lay down upon the bed of the middle-sized bear, but that was too high at the foot for her. Then she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, and that was neither too high at the head nor foot, but just right. So she covered herself up comfortably and fell fast asleep. By this time, the bears thought their porridge would be cool enough to eat, so they returned home for breakfast. Now Goldilocks had left the spoon of the great huge bear standing in his porridge. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. And when the middle-sized bear looked at hers, she saw that the spoon was standing in it too. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said the middle-sized bear in her middle voice. Then the little small wee bear looked at his bowl, and the spoon was in the porridge bowl, but the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been at my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Upon this, the three bears, seeing that someone had entered their house and eaten up little small wee bear's breakfast, began to look around. Now Goldilocks had not put the hard cushion straight when she rose up from the chair of the great huge bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. And Goldilocks had crumpled the soft cushion of the middle-sized bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the middle-sized bear in her middle-sized voice. And you know what Goldilocks had done to the third chair. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair and has sat the bottom right out of it," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Then the bears thought it necessary that they should make a further search, so they went upstairs to their bedroom. Now Goldilocks had pulled the pillow of the great huge bear out of its place. "Somebody's been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. And Goldilocks had pulled the cover of the middle-sized bear out of its place. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle-sized bear in her middle-sized voice. And then the little small wee bear came to look at his bed. There was Goldilocks, sleeping peacefully, her long, shiny braids spread across the pillow. Little small wee bear just stared at her for a moment and didn't say anything. But then he cried, "Somebody's been lying in my bed, and here she is!" Goldilocks had heard in her sleep the great rough, gruff voice of the great huge bear and the middle voice of the middle-sized bear, but it was only as if she heard someone speaking in a dream. But when she heard the little small wee voice of the little small wee bear, it was so sharp and so shrill and so like her own that it awakened her at once. Up she started, and when she saw the three bears on one side of the bed, she tumbled herself off the other and ran to the window. Out Goldilocks jumped and ran away as fast as she could run, not looking behind her until she was very far away. And what happened to Goldilocks afterwards, no one can tell. But the three bears never saw anything more of her. The end. Well, that's what you get for going into someone's house without an invitation, right? That's not really the right thing to do. Okay, boys and girls, that's what we have for today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Have a nice day.